Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kinetic Impressions. I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
And today we're going to give you a nice heaping helping of some movie news. Just to introduce the stories we're going to talk about today, Zack Snyder's Justice League has officially gotten the R rating. David Cronenberg will reunite with Viggo Mortensen to do a new movie. And multiple movies and TV shows are planned for the GameStop situation we all know about. And Jeffrey Wright will be voicing Batman in a podcast. Not exactly movie related, but I thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about that today. Now, the way we're going to do this is it's going to be a clip out, meaning we will introduce each story as if we are going to clip out the videos. So if you're watching this long form one, thank you for watching. Let's just get started now and introduce the first story. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kinetic Impressions Movie News. I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
And today we're going to be talking about the kind of gigantic news that Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, has officially gotten the R rating. And according to this article from slashfilm.com, it has gotten an R rating for violence and some language. So just violence and some language. All right, Drew. So I think what's happening here is that we're gonna get some blood and maybe a couple F-bombs. I don't know.
I think we might get the word shit.
Maybe the word shit, right? Maybe I think the article does reference like maybe you're going to get the Flash saying the word shit every like 2 seconds or something like that. I think what I want to kind of talk about here is the audacity that the WB has right now. They have, like, they knew they fucked up a lot. Am I wrong in saying that? Like, you know, in the other kind of, movies, the DC universe, right?
So they reasons why that you're right.
Yeah, I think they just are like, I don't know what to do. They're like, all right, you know what? All right, we're just gonna give Zack Snyder fucking reign. Just do whatever it is that you want to do with this thing, and just go with it. Which, like, I'm totally for. I'm totally for it. I fucking feel that, you know, artists should always have free reign to do what they want. Of course, I also think that sometimes that's not a good thing.
Right.
You know, sometimes I think maybe your artists need to be a little bit pushed back or something. The only reference that we have here, let me ask you, did you like Batman v Superman? Did you watch the director's cut?
Yes. I was going to say, I did not like it. I feel like when I watched the director's cut, I wondered why it was cut, because there's some very important scenes that give it flow, that give the film an extra, like, just gives the meaning of the movie a little, it makes it way more robust. And I was wondering who the fuck cut that shit. Like,
yeah. I wonder if they did it for time or something like that. Now, I think with the directors, I think with the direct, like, and also like Batman v Superman really gives you a kind of a tell of exactly what Zack Snyder was trying to go for with those movies, which you could totally tell that he like Rian Johnson was trying to do a subversive thing with the franchise, right?
Right.
It was kind of, you know, he didn't really go with the real mythos of the story, of what the actual comic books have created for the characters, and he kind of wanted to create his own mythos for it, which is kind of the same thing he did with Superman, the Superman movie he did, which I really liked. But I do worry, because I like Zack Snyder as a director of visual films, but when I've watched many of his movies, I do get a sense that he is all minutia. You know, he's kind of all about the flash and the film of it. And since I don't think we've really seen a good version of what he does with these characters, I just don't know. And obviously, I guess the one thing that I like about all this is the fact that at the very least, he has been given time to really flesh all this out. He was given a $70 million budget to finish out this movie as well, which is going to be apparently a 4-hour long movie.
It's in parts though, right? Like, aren't they going to do like a 3 release? There's a lot of rumors.
So yeah, I think they initially he did come out last week with an article saying that no, this is going to be a movie.
Oh,
it's not a miniseries; it's a movie. So I think it's going to be like a 4-hour long straight.
I was hoping they would cut it up just to kind of, prolong the release. You get maybe 3 parts released
for sure,
3 weeks back to back. But okay, so I really like what he did. I watched something where he talks about what he did with the Avengers. That's not him, right?
No, that's not him. It's not him at all.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say. Okay, I think I was like, I think I agree with you, man. Batman versus Superman, it didn't play on exactly what really happened with everything in the comics, but it still was, I thought, was going to be a good story.
Yeah.
And just the places it got cut, I think we all just wanted to see all these characters in the same room. And it was just like, that's what I was going to bring up. It's like, just like Avengers, we just want to see that full circle of everybody in the room.
Yeah, for sure. The funness of it and all that. And then like fast forward to Justice League where we kind of got that, right? And like for the fact that it was like the directing credits on that movie, I believe was still given to Zack. It may have been, I think maybe Joss Whedon got the credit for it. But that was still a lot of this movie that we're going to see, right? Because the original plan was for Justice League to be a 2-parter, right? So we got basically the skeletons of what the first movie was going to be, right? And then it would just kind of Frankenstein together with a bunch of Joss Whedon reshot stuff as well,
right?
And I think that movie failed just fundamentally because everything, it was just a movie that was half made and then just kind of slapped together. And the things that I dug about both of those movies are really about the character work that was kind of done to kind of usurp your ideas of these characters, right? So Superman going bad, really interesting, could have been done better. I really like the way that I could see where they were going with that. And that's the one thing that's got me excited about this movie, because that is definitely going to be an idea that's going to be even more fleshed out, right? If you remember that flashback, that weird kind of like a esoteric Mad Max flashback scene that we got in the Justice League movie that was supposed to be part of the second part, where you get a bad Superman that is, interrogating Batman in that kind of futuristic world where the world is completely dystopian and it's like a fucking Mad Max world. Like that is a really interesting story that I want to see fleshed out, and that gets me really excited for this. Right, and so like and the fact that it's gotten the R rating kind of gets me to this thing in my head where like we're gonna see like a really kind of hardcore superhero DC action movie, Mad Max, futuristic. Just,
I was going to ask you, do you think this movie would have been good with Josh Whedon completely at the helm from day one?
From day one, look, I'll say this until the day I die. I hate the fact that it turns out Joss Whedon may be an asshole. I fucking love Joss Whedon. I think his writing is, what his writing does is it gets into some nuances that you just don't know about until you like hear the stories, and he's just so good at bringing new character and new dialogue that you would have not even have thought of, but also connects you really well to the characters. I think he brings a heart and a nuance that I don't think a lot of writers can bring. I do. I badly want to see a Joss Whedon Justice League movie. I mean, look what he did with Avengers. That's
Avengers exactly what I'm thinking about. Yeah,
is so good. and is the reason, like, the first Avengers movie is the reason the comedy of the Marvel universe is the way it is. That movie brought in so much comedy, and it actually into the Marvel universe that we had never seen before. You know, maybe a little bit here and there in the Tony Stark Iron Man movie, but it brought the slapstick. It brought these characters together in a way that made sense because it was a war movie. Right?
Well,
It was a war movie. It
I
brought the
think
idea of Thor in as
I
an
think he
alien.
brought tension. He
For
brought
sure.
tension the best
Yeah.
into that movie. There's a scene that he always talks about filming, and it's this shot that he's like he was stressing apparently the whole time on how he was going to shoot this thing, and it's when they're in like the scientific lab room, and
Oh yeah. And then the shot goes upside down.
yeah, and like it's rotating the whole time, but he's just worried because he's like he has to focus on so much character development in each person with each person's like any word they say he had to worry about that, and
Yeah.
I really think I trust him to be the head of the film. I feel bad. I think this movie went south because it was a half and half
Yes.
mashup. And
Absolutely.
I don't think we can blame either one of these guys
No.
for how bad the movie was. I think the only thing we had to do is, I mean, you have to just sack it up as a loss. I mean, the studios couldn't save this film. They really tried, and I give them mad props for them trying to make this not a bomb. And I think they did what they could.
Yeah.
I think they still are. I'm excited about this Warner Brothers. It's going to be
Yeah.
a rated R straight to HBO Max, right? So
Yes.
like I mean,
Yeah.
that's gonna. I'm excited to see this. What is it? March 16th. It's almost a month.
Yeah. The release date's right here, right? Yeah. It's gonna be
A little over a month
Yeah.
until it's released. I'm pumped. I'm glad it's rated R. It should be rated R because it's not a theatrical release.
Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah. It makes a lot of
That's a
sense.
no brainer to me. I would have made sure that like Zack could release whatever he wants because you know what I mean. Like it's one of the easiest ways. We're going straight to DVD. It's a straight to DVD. You can go as raunchy. This should be not rated.
Yeah, it's going to be March 18th, 2021. It's going to have a runtime of 240 minutes. 240 minutes. I mean, this
4
has
hours.
to be epic. Yeah.
So four. We're just 4 hours. Gosh.
Yeah, 4 hours. It's going to be nuts. You did bring up a point here. I want to touch on this before we're done with this. The what happened to Justice League is really not anyone's fault. The reason Zack Snyder stepped away, and this has been talked about at length, he had a family tragedy. His daughter committed suicide.
Shit.
And he just couldn't bring himself to finish the movie because also his wife is one of his biggest producing partners, and it was their child. So they both had to step away. Warner Brothers did reportedly say, "Hey, take as much time as you need. We will finish this thing. We'll do the thing that you want to do." But he just couldn't do it and just said, "Look, I got to give up. I got to be out." So they gave the rings to Joss Whedon to fix that movie. It was a hodgepodge movie brought together. They did their best. It really failed on a lot of cylinders. There were parts of that movie that I really liked. There were parts of the movie I didn't like. Overall, it just didn't jive well with everything, and it just felt like it was slapped together. It felt like an incomplete movie.
Last question. Just before we wrap up, Arnie, I just want to know: do you think a good version of this movie saved this franchise?
It's got to be damn good. It's got to be fucking.
I mean, we can't go back in the past, so like I'm just saying.
I don't know what this movie is, too. I don't know because we've talked about what DC seems to be doing. They also part of this. I could bring this up about this too. They're bringing Jared Leto into this as well. there was a picture released today, a couple days ago, of Jared Leto being part of this. So this is a big thing. And we've talked about how like Disney is committed to the multiverse thing, where they're going to bring in a Batman from all over the corners of every universe. We're getting Michael Keaton back. We're getting Ben Affleck back. I don't know what other Batman they're going to bring in, but they're bringing them both back. And this movie is that whatever this is part of the abandoned Snyderverse that is still going to come back, right?
Right.
So there is also a possibility. This is also the Superman. Like this is the Superman movie we didn't get. This is going to be the Batman movie we didn't get. This is going to be a new Wonder Woman we didn't get. This is going to be a Flash movie we didn't get. And then this is also going to be a Cyborg movie, but like that Cyborg guy is out too. I'm sorry, I'm getting into like the fucking weeds with this. I think it can. It just. I hope it has to be. It's a 4-hour movie. It better be epic. It better be satisfying. It needs to be crowd pleasing. It needs to be everything the first Justice League movie was, and a little more. Honestly, no. You know what? If it is a fun movie that makes sense and fits the same level of that Justice League movie, I think it'll be fine. I mean, they're sticking a lot to this. They're giving the fans what they wanted, man. This was a fan campaign to the nth degree, and they're just like all in on it. I applaud Warner Brothers for this, and I applaud Zack Snyder for having the will to complete his vision. And honestly, I'm gonna watch this movie to give it support because I support these kind of endeavors, and I fucking hope it's good, man. I'm pumped to see this shit, man. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see what it becomes and what it is. I hope it's fucking good.
Yeah, me too, man.
I hope it's good, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This is Kinetic Impressions. I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you thought of all the Snyder movies. The Superman, the Batman vs. Superman, the weird hodgepodge Justice League movie made together with Joss Whedon. Let us know what you think about this video. Find us on all your podcasting platforms at Kinetic Impressions. And I also have a podcast called The Arnie Diaz Show. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. And Drew, what do we always say?
Go watch a fucking movie.
Go watch a fucking movie. All right. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go with some Cronenberg. You watch Cronenberg movies, my man?
I feel bad for asking this. Who the hell is Cronenberg?
You know who Cronenberg is? You know who Cronenberg is? Oh, man. Okay. We're going to talk. All right. We're going to talk about some Cronenberg. Do you know History of Violence?
No.
You ever seen History of Violence?
Is it a movie?
Yes. It's with Viggo Mortensen. What else did he do? Let me actually, I have his. I had it somewhere.
I have it pulled up.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, if you've never seen Cronenberg, I mean, you know what? I mean,
I heard
he's
of him,
one of those. He's one of those esoteric guys. He's from the David Fincher class. He's from the fucking. He did The Fly.
Right.
He did The Fly. So he does like those. He does these weird horror movies that are real heady. He does some good classics every once in a while. Let's see. Let me just go straight to his directing chops just to see. Yep, did The Fly, Naked Brunch, Extends, History of Violence. That's with Viggo. A Dangerous Mind, also with Viggo. Cosmopolis with Rob Pattinson, and then Maps of the Stars with Rob Pattinson as well. He is a known filmmaker that does these esoteric kind of creepy horror movies, but then also does these like real existential type of movies that are real kind of like thrillers at the same time as they are kind of like thriller comedies type of thing.
Give me an example. Which one of those? Like,
so Cosmopolis is definitely one of those kind of
Gotcha.
real heady, kind of verite thriller movies, not bloody horror movie. Map of the Stars is also that way as well. And then he does movies like History of Violence, which History of Violence did give Viggo Mortensen, I believe, a nomination. This is the movie where Viggo Mortensen is just like a regular guy, hanging out at a place. You know what? Let's just start the thing.
Let's do it.
Start the thing, and then we'll get into this. We'll get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kinetic Impressions. My name's Arnie.
I'm Andy.
And today we're going to talk about some movie news. All right, so specifically, if you know about the filmmaker David Cronenberg, he and Viggo Mortensen are poised to team up again for a follow-up movie to their last 3 movies together, which include History of Violence, and also, I forget the last one. It was a Dangerous Method. I'm sorry, Eastern Promises. Dangerous Method, and they're going to do another movie which kind of harkens back to David Cronenberg's roots of kind of body horror thriller type thing. Now, I was talking to my man Drew here a second ago, and he did mention to me that he had not really known about David Cronenberg. Now, if you're like a really big cinephile and you've like are really into those real esoteric films from the 90s, you know about David Cronenberg's early work. Now, David Cronenberg kind of has this filmography that kind of moves across a spectrum. He has these movies that are really kind of existential horror movies, that are kind of bloody horror movies, that are in the vein of kind of Freddy Krueger, right? Where it's kind of like crazy, weird, body gory stuff, but it's also real heady and strange. But then he also has recently done these kind of like really solid thriller movies like A History of Violence. Well, if you've seen A History of Violence, which was a pretty popular movie back in the early 2000s, it's about Viggo Mortensen. He plays a guy that is living in this like small town America, and then it turns out that he had this massive past with the mafia, and it comes back to bite him as they find out where he is, and they come to collect on basically a life debt, right? And then he also does these movies like Cosmopolis and Map of the Stars that are really esoteric, kind of heady movies that are just kind of like, they're these verite films that are kind of strange, and almost you can't understand them, but when you really understand the layers of them, you kind of get them as well. He's a very wide-ranged kind of movie guy. He's got a ton of Oscar nominations, and he's gotten Oscar nominations for Viggo Mortensen as well. The reason I wanted to bring this up is because he is a very interesting director. Now, Drew, let me ask you this. Do you like Viggo Mortensen? Is there some good work from him?
Love Viggo Mortensen. Can't say enough about the guy. That's why I'm wondering like what rock I've been under, because I'm looking at all these movies too, and this guy works with some amazing talent. We're talking about Robert Pattinson, Paul Giamatti, Naomi Watts, Michael Fassbender. These are just few of the names that are just the top of the list of the most recent movies, and I'm like, what rock have I been under that I've not watched any of the Cronenberg movies? And like, I'm going to go out and watch some this week now, for sure. But I love Viggo. Viggo,
yeah,
man. And that's another thing. Viggo does not pick projects. He does not just like pick any project. He doesn't pick what's on the top of the pile. He really digs deep and he looks at them. I remember one of the first movies I really realized like that put me on the map for him was Captain Fantastic, and I thought it was a fucking wonderful indie film.
Captain Fantastic, okay.
And I just could not believe that I had never known about this guy.
For sure.
And so, I mean, that's recent. I mean, other than Lord of the Rings. I mean, like, I've seen him in all the Lord of the Rings, but like, that's
where he came from. That's the very first, like that was where Viggo Mortensen got on the map. Sure. Yeah, we got to give some props to Lord of the Rings for bringing some of these people to our attention for sure.
Yeah, and I think they just re-released they're going to re-release the 4K, right? Like,
oh yeah, I think I see an article about that. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be so cool. Yeah, I would love. I'd rewatch those movies like during like Thanksgiving and Christmas time for sure. I think it's like that's one of those things for people to do. I also really want to see the extended versions. I've actually never seen the extended versions of Lord of the Rings.
I bet you they're long.
Yeah. I think they literally legitimately add almost 40 minutes per, if not maybe like an hour on one of them as well.
It's not enough.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not enough walking. Jesus.
God.
I just think about movies. I just think about the. Oh, never mind. I'm lost.
You're talking about the Clerks, right? The Clerks 2.
Yeah, I just think about the Clerks. The Clerks 2 line. That's all I think about, man.
For sure. So the biggest, like one thing, like the reason I think this is interesting, because if you know anything about David Cronenberg's films, recently he has stayed away from the body horror genre that he has been known for in the very, very past. So like one of the biggest ones that we know about is The Fly. He did The Fly. I think he wrote and directed. Well, I think that movie is actually a remake from an older movie, right? So if you think about Eastern Promises and History of Violence, right? Think about that mind going back to his body horror roots with Viggo Mortensen. And that just screams interesting to me. I want to read a quote from the article from Viggo Mortensen. This is what... So Viggo actually directed a movie that David Cronenberg did a cameo in. And he had this quote about what is the possibility of their working relationship in the future. So quote from slashfilm.com. However, a new interview with Viggo Mortensen provides some hope. Cronenberg has a small part in Falling, Mortensen's feature directorial debut, and while speaking to GQ, the actor was asked if he might end up starring in a Cronenberg movie again. He said, quote, "Yes, we do have something in mind," Mortensen said. "It's something he wrote a long time ago, and he never got to make it. Now he has refined it, and he wants to shoot it. Hopefully it'll be this summer, and we'll be filming. I would say, without giving the story away, he's going maybe a little back to his origins." Now, this is just like I really, so some really great movies of his that are like in that body horror realm. Yes, The Fly. There's this other one called Extends. That is just really, it's literally, it's called, it Extends actually, it has, I forget the guy's name. It's literally about a video game that these people inhabit, and these people that kind of go into a video game world, which is kind of like a VR world. And this guy gets a weapon that every time he shoots it, the weapon becomes more a part of his body. And it's about these guys trying to get out of that world. It's super heady, super gross, and just really thrilling, and just really weird in that world. And I really fascinated with him going back into that world with an actor like Viggo Mortensen. So it's just something that I wanted to bring up. It's super interesting. I hope it's good. Let me ask you this, Drew. Is there anything about this kind of heady thing that you'd be interested in seeing? I realize you haven't seen a lot of this, but think about The Fly and Viggo Mortensen together.
Exactly, all of it, man. I'm looking. I was just reading through synopsis and stuff like that, and like just the mind blowing stuff where he plays Sigmund Freud, and there's just some like really interesting dynamics in all his movies. Just reading synopses. Synopses, whatever.
Yeah, some of these movies are crazy. Like, there's one movie called Crash, which is not related to the early 2000s Crash.
It's the 1996 Crash. Yes, yeah. I've heard of this other Crash movie.
Yeah, so it's literally about these people who get sexual pleasure from actually going into car crashes.
Yes, and they're turned on. I watched this preview because I found this movie so fascinating. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this movie. So these have been on my list. I just didn't know. I didn't know this was all tied to the same person.
Same guy. Yeah, my guy. Yeah, I'm super excited to see what this is. Super excited to see like him go back to his roots. Because I'll be honest with you, Map to the Stars and Cosmopolis, I didn't enjoy. They're really heady films, and they're really like. There's this thing about these directors that came up in the late '90s, where they write some things that I just can't. I can't, I don't know what's the word here. I can't jive with. I can't jive with that kind of stuff. Like that, like there's some David Lynch stuff that I can't jive with. There's some Cronin, there's some who's the guy who did Contagion? Steven Soderbergh. There's some like Steven Soderbergh stuff that I can't jive with. You know what I'm talking about? Like there's just some of those movies that they do that I can't really, because it just feels like it's written real esoterically and strange. But I really want him to get back to his roots when it comes to the body horror stuff, and I'm really excited for this.
I'm intrigued with the body horror stuff, like the body horror stuff. I think that's going to bring it back. That's going to bring him back to like some really talented stuff.
Yeah, some of it is really like Shakespearean as well. Some of the stuff that because it's kind of like if you were talking about, if you were to do like an old version of not Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? But with like a Shakespeare written on it, it's just like that's the kind of mindset that you have to get yourself into these kind of movies. It's real strange and just fascinating to me. Right on. I think we did it, my man. Thank you so much for watching, listening, or however you're doing what you're doing to see us. Please like, subscribe, comment. What are some really good Cronenberg movies that you like to watch? Or tell us what you think this like melding of minds back to the old body horror stuff is going to bring up. What kind of things would you like to see? My name is Arnie. I have a podcast called The Arnie Diaz Show. It's also available, as well as the Kinetic Impressions podcast as well. You can go watch that or listen to that on any podcasting platform as well. I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
And what do we always say?
Go watch a movie.
Go watch a movie. All right. Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's go. This whole freaking like GameStop thing, man. It's nuts, right?
Dude, it's been a crazy week of GameStop.
It's been crazy, for sure. All right, let's get this started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kinetic Impressions Movie News. I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
And today we're going to be talking about some movie news specifically. Now, this article honestly, this news story has kind of infiltrated the news waves of all kinds of media at this point. So it's not really a big surprise. But from /film.com, there will be multiple projects made about the GameStop situation. According to this article from /film, there is not only a movie that is in the pipeline, but also a TV series that is also being kind of shopped around from Deadline. Now, to get to the specifics of each project, now they do say that there are some kind of unknown directors and actors attached to some of these projects. But what I really want to get into here is, like, Drew, is it not fascinating how this is the thing that happened in the last 14 months that makes all these studios say, we got to make a movie, we got to make it now? How is it that is this one thing, which I get, right? Like,
before we get into this, Arnie, I just want to know, did you buy any GameStop stock? Did you get your hands on any?
No, but I did get some Dogecoin because it's super cheap.
That's good. Yeah, my friend actually, Ricky, he tried to get some GameStop stock, but Robinhood booted him out.
No shit. You try to get some? You try to get some of that?
He tried to get some of the GameStop, and then like the whole Robinhood thing.
Yeah.
It was early on, and the whole Robinhood thing, like they blocked him out from getting any, and they said, like, and then the lawsuits came, and then AOC came, and Ted Cruz, like all this stuff started. So like it was really interesting, but we did a story a couple weeks ago about that cartel lady, that really interesting cartel lady who just like hunted all these people down.
Yes.
And like she just, got every one of them arrested, basically. Didn't kill them, but like got them all arrested just to find her out. And like that's what the studios were hunting for. Like there was a bidding war. There was a huge bidding war. And then like to see this not even get a week. It couldn't even finish a week in the press.
Literally not even a week. A week today. Yeah.
And then now it's like, I was reading in this article, it's like, I mean, they're talking about like buying the rights to the book deal to make a movie off of it. I'm like, you haven't even finished the book yet. Yeah. The book isn't even, you haven't even written the first page of the book, and you're already going to like, all right, let's get this book deal a movie. I was like,
the book is literally called The Antisocial Network. That's it's
original
hilarious.
Name, right? Like
that's what it's just like this. Like I get it. It's one of these like world-changing events for sure. Like, how come we haven't heard about them making a movie about the pandemic? Like I've not heard anything about that.
Yeah, or like vaccines or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
or the insurrection that happened a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry. You know what's crazy? The Wednesdays in 2021 are nuts.
GameStop did happen on that Wednesday, didn't it?
Yep, happened on a Wednesday.
That's
for sure.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. And then like another project that they're eyeing, like in here, it says like so quote from the article, according to Deadline, Netflix is in talks to make a new film that touches on how regular people invested in GameStop in droves and skewered over Wall Street hedge funds. It also, I think, speaks to like how much people legitimately on both sides of the aisle and possibly on both sides of like the social world really hate hedge funds.
Yeah.
Like
I
hedge
was
funds are the
I,
devil.
oh, they are. I was asking myself though, did like The Big Short come on Netflix or something? Like, did everybody just watch The Big Short? Like,
Oh yeah, I think
what happened?
maybe I think it might have been on Netflix for a
Like,
stint, possibly for
what
sure.
geared up everybody to be like, yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this next week.
Like head yeah, and
Like,
obviously like a lot of people like started to understand stocks in a way that we never understood stocks in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Like we all were like hedged into this.
I
I
think
get
that's one of the funniest things right now in the media is how many times I've heard this GameStop's thing being referenced. Like I was
yeah.
listening to like wait, don't tell me on NPR. Wait, don't tell me was trying to explain short buys to one of their hosts, and they're like, "Yeah, you're just speaking nonsense. Please stop talking. Please no, please stop talking." And I was just like laughing, because they always get a good group of comedians on there, and this girl's just hilarious. She's just like, you just start making noises, and I don't understand what you're saying. There's a lot of people who don't understand what even happened. So we
Yeah.
need a movie to get it
Yeah.
for it to be explained. It's kind of like I think we need a movie to explain Tenet to everybody. If we had a movie, if we had a movie that explained Tenet, more people would like Tenet.
There's plenty of YouTube videos for sure. There's plenty of
But
YouTube videos
you know what I'm
about
getting?
that.
You know what I'm getting at, right,
Yeah.
Arnie? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's like the biggest things. Like nobody even understands what happened. I was like,
Yeah.
what happened between Reddit and GameStop and the Wall Street, like just
You,
Wall Street in general? What?
so I think I get part of what's going on here because this is an underdog story, right?
100%.
This is like one of these. I mean, we're talking about how what was this? How in droves screwed over Wall Street. I want to see the fuck out of that movie. I want to see a movie like I don't know, like what's a movie where everyone gangs up together and does it? Oh! It brings you back to a really good movie. You probably haven't. Oh, we should watch this movie for review. Summer Wars. It's an anime movie, but it's an anime movie
Okay.
where like this AI takes over, and like this one family goes in and tries to fight it, and then like at the very almost end, the entire planet comes in together, and they're just like, "We're gonna help you fight this AI." Like it's an underdog story about the little guy going against
Gotcha.
this big, huge conglomerate. I get that. I want to see the fuck out of that movie, right?
Like the third Star Wars movie that wasn't a George Lucas. What was
Talk about the Last Jedi.
Yeah, where everybody like, man, it always gets me at the end.
Right, Star Wars. Sorry.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end where like the guy, he's he's in his
AT-AT or whatever.
Starfighter. I don't know. Fuck, I can't remember the names right now. But like, he's in his little jet and he's like, yo, I don't think they're coming, man. He's like, nothing's gonna happen. It's just like the end of Endgame too. And the Endgame.
Oh yes.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to think of good moments.
Yeah. The Endgame one is for sure.
But yeah, like those are great moments where you're just like, Cap, come in. And it's like, and you're like a tear, and then all the fucking circles just start appearing. It's great.
Dude, I want to see the fuck out of that movie, and like for sure, like I guess yes, this is obviously one of those black swan events that has changed our market world, but that has happened. Like, I can think of 3 that happened in the last 12 months. But like, I guess as a movie producer, if I put my movie producer hat on, this is a really marketable story. It's so marketable, right? You just get a bunch of like underdog rags to riches. You got a rags to riches story. You got an underdog story. You got a story about sticking it to Wall Street, which apparently is fucking everybody hates Wall Street.
Yeah.
Like if you can get AOC and Ted Cruz to agree on something, you're doing something wrong, bro.
I love that the TV series is going to be called To the Moon. That is such a good title for this.
To the moon, dude. To the fucking moon. Also, as we're talking right now, currently GameStop stock is starting to tank a little bit. It was at like $105. It is $88 currently as we're filming this on 9 p.m. on a fucking Wednesday night on the 3rd.
Yeah, it was already starting to like earlier today. AMC's, they were all starting to kind of go down again. But
No, for sure. I guess like I'm excited for these projects too. I think another one they're talking like so. Back to the article quote, but Deadline Reports also says there are several potential rival projects mobilizing to tell the story. So like there's gonna be a plethora of stuff talking about this whole thing, which makes sense. Like I said, it's a marketable story. It makes sense to make something like that. But like, wow, I can't believe this is the one thing that's making so many people just jump ship and just go straight to trying to make this thing.
yeah, and like I don't know. There's the first guy that they mentioned that has to do with the TV series. I don't know him too well. Noam Tomashov. I don't know how to say that name,
Well,
but
he's just generic pretty boy to me.
but the Mark Bowl. I mean, Mark Bowl has done. This is not too much of a war thing, but he's done Zero Dark 30, and he did the Hurt Locker. So he's worked really well with Catherine Bigelow, really, on those two Oscar-nominated films. And
Okay.
he's going to be writing Netflix has acquired him to like write the script.
Is that the one for To the Moon?
No, that's the one that's the Netflix version of the
Gotcha.
movie, I
Gotcha.
think.
So To the Moon is going to be written by this guy named Noam Tum Ashoff.
That's the one I couldn't like. I don't know about that guy, man.
I mean, his filmography is filled with. He looks like he's an international for sure. And the only thing that I can see that I may have heard of, I think I've heard of Nerve.
Yeah.
It has Dave Franco in it.
He has good film festival credits. It's just a lot of it's shorts. A lot of it is shorts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what he's done. I'm excited to see what will become of him. But yeah,
this is going to be the first true Reddit movie and Reddit TV movies.
Yeah,
Reddit is getting a fucking movie. I mean, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I will say this: the biggest thing that has happened, and because of all this, is people understand more than ever how much the stock market is just a fucking game. It's just a game. It's mostly just for gambling. Well, hedge funds, right? Hedge funds are really the ones that use it for like gambling, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between hedge funds and just like people who play in the stock market. If you like, there are people who like. So, and the difference is people who regularly play in the stock market are actually just going for the long term, right? But the hedge funds are the ones that are trying to do the short term gains, right? They're the ones shorting the market. They're the ones trying to get they're basically day traders that mostly lose their money, but they also do this shit where they short stocks, and the shorting thing is fucked up, right? So I made a video of this on my podcast, Plug the Idea Show, where like shorting is not a bad thing in general. It's just a thing that's going to happen in the market because the way the market is just free, right? If people are going to try to profit off the fact that a company's stock price is going to go down, not inherently bad. What's bad is when you short over 80% of the stock, which is what this hedge fund did to GameStop. And they knowingly like wrote articles and went on TV appearances about how this company may do bad. And that just causes the stock price to go down, which causes people to lose their jobs in those industries and specifically GameStop.
So yeah, in that article, it even says that these two gentlemen that really started this movement on Wall Street bets, they both got let go from GameStop and AMC.
Wow. Yeah.
So they were directly affected in multiple ways with this whole thing. And that Mark Bowl guy, I just heard you mention Triple Frontier earlier. He also wrote Triple Frontier, that Netflix movie. So Netflix obviously has him, on retainer to write some good stuff for him. So I think we might see a good movie. It's not about war, which is interesting, but because this guy does a lot of war stuff. But I think we can expect at least one of these projects to be good. Hopefully,
yeah, for sure. I hope. Yeah,
we'll learn a little bit. We'll learn a little bit from it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, fuck yeah! I'm excited for it. I obviously I want good stuff to be made, and I'm glad that we are in a time and place where we're starting to see people stick it to the man for real, for real.
Hell yeah.
For real, for real. All right, I think we did it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Kinetic Impressions Movie News. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think of these projects. What kind of project would you like to see made from this whole GameStop fiasco that's happening in the world? My name is Arnie. I have a podcast called The Arnie Diaz Show where I actually talk about this subject a little bit. Shameless plug there. And I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
What do we always say, Drew?
Go fucking watch a movie.
Go fucking watch a movie. All right. All right. We'll just move it over to this last kind of weird one. It's just so weird. This cast, though, is nuts for this thing. All right.
I almost forgot about this one. I had it pulled up this whole time.
Back to the Oh, I have one thing that I wanted to make sure that I said.
Audio Adventures.
Okay, cool. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kinetic Impressions Movie News. I'm Arnie.
I'm Andy.
And today we're going to be talking about not quite movie news, but really interesting news that I thought would be really cool to talk about just because it is just wild, weird, and really interesting. It has been reported, this article comes from slashfilm.com, that Jeffrey Wright will be playing Batman on an HBO Max comedy podcast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a comedy podcast. Now, there really hasn't been a lot of details of it, but I want to give you some of the other cast members that are going to be involved in this, which is just crazy. Okay, you've got Seth Meyers from SNL fame. Sorry. Rosario Dawson, Jason Sudeikis, Alan Tudyk is going to be in there, and a bunch of other comedians that are going to be involved in these projects. So the actual podcast is called.
Did you say John Leguizamo, right? You mentioned
John Leguizamo, yes. John Leguizamo's in there.
Thompson, Chris Parnell. Ike Barinholtz, these guys. I mean, this list goes on forever of hilarious people.
It's called it's called Batman: The Audio Adventures. This is just wild and crazy and kind of nuts, and kind of goes back to we were talking about the Justice League Snyder, right? And that we were talking how that's rated R now, right? And it totally feels like, yeah, DC is just whatever, carte blanche. Somebody obviously had a good idea for a comedy series for Batman. And he wanted, instead of throwing a whole bunch of money at a cartoon or a TV show or a movie, they were like, let's do a podcast. And then let's just get all of these crazy, incredible comedy minds together and do this. Dude, how do you like Jeffrey Wright?
I love Jeffrey Wright, man. Isn't he already supposed to be the commissioner in a Batman series?
Yes, he's supposed to. He's currently playing the commissioner in The Batman, which is the Robert Pattinson new Batman movie. That is, I think it's being directed by the guy who did the Planet of the Apes movies, the last one. Forget his name. But yeah, dude, Jeffrey Wright is going to play both the Batman, and Commissioner Gordon. in this, the idea of him playing, I'm actually I would kind of want to hear him just play Batman in an animated movie, one of those DC animated films. Just have Jeffrey Wright as the Batman. That sounds.
He has a great voice for it, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he definitely has a great voice for that.
So the first time I ever watched Jeffrey Wright do something, in high school, was I watched him do a Broadway show called Top Dog Underdog, and this show is beautifully done, and I think it had him opposite of Mos Def for the whole movie.
Yeah,
and or for the whole show. Sorry, and he was fabulous, but I don't think after I saw him in that, he could do no wrong to me. He could be in every Bond film as the CIA dumbass and do no wrong. I think Westworld, he's brilliant in Westworld. He really owns his characters.
Probably the best part of Westworld to me.
Yeah, he owns his characters. I think he's a very good actor. So he will never do wrong in my book. Uh, I think he chooses his stuff wisely, and I'm really excited about this.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in a comedy. I'm sure he's been. I think he's played a gay character in a comedy once, which I think he was brilliant. Look, Jeffrey Wright is fucking brilliant and probably one of the most underrated character actors of our time. Like you said, his Broadway work, he is an auteur, he is an actor of the highest degree. I think he can literally do no wrong, like you said. I've never really thought of him as a comedy actor, but I think I've definitely seen him be funny in a couple things for sure.
I mean, I think more of his show stuff and his voiceover work is funnier. I think that's where he has the comedy thing. Like he's done some BoJack Horseman. He's been in like an episode of Rick and Morty. He he's in that What If show that we were talking about.
Oh yeah,
coming out soon. But yeah, I don't know if I've seen him in something like in a true comedy.
What do you think a Batman comedy looks like? Because in my head, I'm just thinking of like 1960s Batman slapstick.
No, I'm thinking of a little bit more slapstick Lego Batman. I think Lego Batman is hilarious. I think when I watch Lego Batman, it is just like the true what a kid would think of as Lego Batman, you know, like or as Batman.
Yes.
And I think it's just fun. You got to look at who they got. Did you watch SNL this weekend, Arnie?
No.
Fun fact. No. Did you see John Krasinski and
I saw the story about that. I saw the story about them making out.
Machine Gun Kelly? Well, the director of this wrote that skit. He writes Weekend Update mostly.
Oh, so this is totally an SNL adjacent.
So Dennis McNicholas, Dennis McNicholas is going to be who they slated, is an SNL writer who they slated to write and direct this, and he wrote the iconic, fabulous film Land of the Lost.
Oh my god! So he's totally in the SNL family for sure.
I don't know if you remember that. It did really well.
The movie that ended Michael Cera's career and it nearly ended Will Ferrell's career.
I'm just laughing so hard, man. It's good.
Yeah. That movie.
Yeah. This guy had only done SNL, and they're like, "Hey, let's give him a movie.
Yeah,
let's let him write a movie." And he wrote Land of the Lost, which was I remember going to see this in theaters, and Danny McBride and I was like, "Oh, this can't be bad. It's going to be Will Ferrell, Danny McBride. I think Matt Lauer's in this for a little bit. Like, there's no way this could be bad." Man, that was an awful movie.
Yeah, it was just bad. It's what happens when I feel like he wrote that movie quick or something, because like I feel like that project came together really quickly. So let's go back to the idea of a Batman comedy here. Okay, there's a lot of comedy in that ethos for sure, right? We're talking about Batman and Robin dynamic itself can be fucking hilarious. A funny Joker could be. I mean, you could actually have the Joker be funny, right? The dynamics between the Joker and Harley Quinn could be interesting. There's a lot of comedy.
Think about the 90s Batman stuff that we already make fun of.
Oh yeah.
You know, like think about like the ass and tights with, you know, like just them putting the glove on and how like
the nipple, the nipples. Turning the montage, dude. Yes.
I'm just thinking about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jack Nicholson.
Dude, Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face.
Tommy Lee Jones, great mention. Yeah,
it's the most that I've ever seen him be like just fucking chewing up scenery. Like he was actually a really good actor, playing a fucking like out of this world. He wasn't even in the same movie as those guys.
Yeah, I like. I just can't even think about it. Like, There's so many funny moments in these Batman movies, even in our recent ones that I think are going to be great. So I think we can do a lot of good with this, especially
Yeah,
when you're thinking of it from like I said, this guy writes Weekend Update. He used to write for Jon Stewart show. When you have somebody like that at the helm, uh, that's known to write good jokes and parodies,
for sure.
I think it could be good.
I think it could be. I think it could be amazing, especially with these actors. This fucking talent that is being
The
assembled for
talent.
this.
Yep.
Good lord. Which means, what to my head means, this thing's already written. They got stories already. I think they got at least the first couple scripts ready to rock. I mean, this is going to be a podcast. It's probably going to be like a half hour per. You know.
It scares me that HBO is even getting in the podcast game. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have enough stuff with feature films. We couldn't take over feature films and TV series, miniseries.
So this kind of goes back to something that I've actually been thinking about. So there is this idea that terrestrial radio commercials and podcasting commercials are actually probably going to be more profitable in the long run than TV commercials.
Wow.
Because we spend a lot of time in our cars. And that's just, and you can't, you literally, for safety reasons, maybe this is going to go away when like self-driving cars, but we cannot see anything. We can't watch anything when we're driving safely,
Right.
So the audio space, and kind of one of the biggest reasons it's growing, when we're in our cars, we can't do anything but listen to things. And when it comes to TV commercials, a lot of us are just skipping over them, right? And a lot of us are going to these services that don't have commercials. So, in a lot of ways, like, I think it kind of makes a lot of business sense to move into that space, because it is just a space that does well, because we are in our cars a lot, and a lot of people listen to podcasts, and a lot of people are making a lot of money off of podcasts.
They are.
Just thinking about the Joe Rogan thing that happened. I mean, that man is making hundreds of millions of dollars having a fucking podcast where he just, talks, which makes sense. So it makes sense for this decision. I am still flabbergasted at the idea of a Batman comedy. I never even thought that was a thing that would be a thing. But with Jeffrey Wright, bro, Jeffrey Wright is going to be Batman in a Batman comedy. Those are three things. That is a sentence that I would have never even in a million years thought about saying ever, dude.
I know. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where was all this content exactly a year ago, though? There's so much content that we're talking about right now that like, I mean, like, forget pilot season. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think in New York, pilot season used to be one of the biggest times, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think that pilot season has to exist as the way it used to.
No, I mean, half the networks are online.
Network television isn't where it used to be. If you had a pilot that you didn't think was going to be greenlit with the writer and actor that's on it, or the director and actor that's on it, you take it to a streaming platform. Yeah. They'll put somebody big behind it, and then they'll put it on their streaming platform. We don't even have pilots anymore, I don't think. It just goes straight to Netflix, and we see if it can make it. Like, that's insane.
That is the pipeline that's forming right now. I mean, terrestrial television is still a thing. People got to watch their Bachelors every weekend. They got to watch their, like...
Yeah, that's still going to exist.
Yeah.
But the random show, about some... I don't know, detective who can speak to animals, that's just going to go to Netflix now.
Yeah. For sure.
They're not going to waste their time with primetime TV with that.
For sure. And there's and there's also something to be said with the fact that streaming services, when it comes to television shows, they give the artists a little bit more carte blanche to do what they want in a real way, which is...
That's a good thing. That actually is a good thing.
Yeah. There's kind of so I read a couple articles when, like, what's that series that Steven Soderbergh did? It's about the serial killers. It was like when the FBI was forming their, like, idea of serial killers or whatever.
Like the Night Stalker thing? That was
not the Night Stalker, but it was like a TV show. But like, but that TV show kind of harkens to the fact that, like, because independent movies are not being made as much as they used to because of pirating, a lot of these minds that were making independent film are actually moving to the TV series online space to really fulfill their need for artistic expression, which is the reason why we got Stranger Things and Ozark. Those are made by guys who would have probably been making independent films, right? Which is, kind of always harkens back to the whole like world of content creation that we're in. Like look, the movie theaters notwithstanding, the movie industry, television, like we are going into a golden age of just fucking content everywhere all the time. Netflix is releasing 60 movies this year. It is just like the gates are open, bro. We need to make a movie. We're gonna make a movie. Within the next 10 years, we're gonna fucking make a movie because we're gonna be able to sell it to somewhere. I don't know where we're going. Netflix. We're gonna go to whatever new streaming platform is gonna be made in the next 5 years. There's going to be an avenue for content creation out there that I think we're entering into an era where democratization of content creation is a thing. You're going to be able to just be a $60,000 a year content creator. You're not going to be a big Hollywood titan, but you're going to be able to make your like side project with your buddies and sell it to Netflix or like have it be a podcast or something like that. I think that's what we're heading to, and which is a world that I didn't think we would get to, which is kind of dumb to think now.
Not in this early of my lifetime. I didn't think we were going to get here.
Yeah. So quickly. But this is it. Fucking Batman comedy, Jeffrey Wright, SNL, all these actors, John Leguizamo. Wow. Wow.
I can't wait. I'm gonna be listening to it. It's gonna be
okay, dude. Hell yeah, we should review it. I think we did it, my man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Kinetic and Precious Movie News. Please like, comment, subscribe. What kind of outlandish ideas do you guys have for a Batman comedy starring one of the greatest black thespians in recent years are going through your heads? Please subscribe to us on YouTube, our podcast, Kinetic Impressions. I have a project called The Arnie Diaz Show. It would really mean the world to me if you subscribe to that as well. It's on everything. Drew, what do we always say?
Go fucking watch a movie.
Go watch a movie. Beautiful.